I wanted to go over the exercises in exercise 0 and put a little bit of emphasis on F strings and how they work. So let's just go through these reasonably quickly, and then I'll talk through using F strings and calling functions. So we want to shout the answer, and shouting just means put it in capitals. So we'll use the argument string dot upper, like that, and we want to know if this works or not. So we can put in a breakpoint on line 74, and then we can either run it through here or by pressing F5. And so we can now look. Oh, let's take that out. See what we've got. Okay, so we have two variables in our local scope. We have a string, which is the argument that we've been passed in, which is lowercase hello, and the answer, which is uppercase hello, because we've just done that. So that's all good. We're happy with that. We can let that run out. So we know that works. So if we want to really shout, and we want to shout, and we add an exclamation mark to the end, we can do it like this and say a string dot upper plus an exclamation mark. Now that works and it will pass, but it's not very good practice, because the problem we've got here is, say we decide that shouting actually means doing something a bit different. We can change it here, but we would also have to change it here. So having to do something in two places is bad. So what we want to really do is reuse the function that we've just written and make it use this code to do this job. So we've defined a function up here called shout, and here we're going to use it. So we're going to call the function shout and pass in the parameter or the argument a string, and then we're going to concatenate, a funny word, so let me write it down. We're going to concatenate the exclamation mark to the end of it. So that's all good. It's reasonably straightforward, but it's not going to work as straightforwardly in the next one. So let's try and use the same formatting for everything. So in our case here, I want us to start using F strings because they're more robust. So an F string is just a format string or a template string. Now, I think this is pretty readable. I think that's good. I like it. But it also is relatively easy to use in different contexts. So we can use that here. And so we want to add a number instead. So instead of the exclamation mark, we can put in a number. Now, there are a whole bunch of things we can do with these F strings beyond just chucking things straight in. And if you have a look at, I'll put a link in here, you'll have to kind of copy it yourself, but it's, if you just search for Python F-string formatting cheat sheet, it'll be the first thing that comes up. And what we can do with that is we can start using these little commands here. Now, if I start a Python session, we can see what they do. So if I say I want to make an F string which pads the left-hand side of my string with hashes up to 10, I can do that. And if I want to make that be centered, I can do that. And this sort of thing seems fairly trivial until you actually really need it. But the magic stuff is when we start dealing with numbers. Like if we import math and we say math.py, it gives us this very, very long number, which is great. But if we want it to say, like that, I'm trying to spell circle, right? This is very long, right? So maybe we want to be able to say we want pi, but only two decimal places. So we'd say, okay, we'll colon to say we're going into the next bit, and then dot 2f. And the 2 is the number of decimal places, and f is for floating point number. And so now we've got circle stuff 3.14, which is cool. So we can do all kinds of nice things with these little modifiers. So it's just worth getting your head around using format strings whenever you can, because A, I think they're more readable. B, they are more robust. Things tend to go wrong less often. And C, they have this extra layer of formatting control that you can add on top of them.